What if you could set a research goal, go to bed, and then wake up to find an AI has already run 100 different experiments for you while you were sleeping? Well, that's the wild idea behind Andrei Karpathy's Autoresearch project. It's a framework designed to let an AI just go and conduct machine learning research all by itself. So, how on earth does it work? Let's dive in and find out.
And Karpathy himself isn't thinking small here. I mean, look at this quote. He's framing this as the very beginning of a whole new era. The vision is massive, shifting research away from us humans, or meat computers as he hilariously calls us, to these tireless swarms of AI agents just constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the big idea. Then, we'll get into the system's architecture, follow an agent through its workday, see where you, the human, fit in, and, super importantly, how you can actually adapt this for your own computer. And finally, we'll zoom out and think about what this all means for the future.
Okay, so let's really get into this new era of research. It's a fundamental change in how things get done. Instead of a person manually tweaking code, running an experiment, waiting, analyzing the results, and then doing it all over again, you just let the AI handle it. It does everything, guided only by your high-level instructions. Here's the whole concept in a nutshell. You give an AI agent a piece of training code. It comes up with an idea, changes the code to try it out, runs a short, timed experiment, and then checks if the result was any better. If it was, great, it keeps the change. If not, it just throws it away and tries something else. And it just does this over and over and over again.
So how does this actually work under the hood? Well, the real power of this system is its beautiful simplicity. Seriously, it's all built on a 3-layer architecture that keeps everyone's job crystal clear.
And this slide lays it out perfectly. At the very top, you've got the human layer. That's you. Your only job is to edit a single markdown file, program.md, to point the research in the right direction. Then, in the middle, you've got the AI agent. It lives and breathes in one file, train.py. That's its sandbox for all experiments. And at the bottom, the infrastructure layer, which is prepare.py, is completely locked down. It can't be changed. That way, you know every single experiment is being judged by the exact same rules.
Think of it like a tiny research organization. You, the human, are the research director. You're setting the grand vision in that program.md file. The AI agent, it's your star researcher, down in the lab, tirelessly messing with train.py to run experiment after experiment. You give it the strategy, it provides the non-stop execution.
Now this is absolutely crucial. Every single experiment, no matter what the agent tries, runs for exactly 5 minutes of real-world time. It doesn't matter if it makes the model bigger or the batch size smaller, 5 minutes is the rule. This makes every result perfectly comparable on your machine and gives you a predictable pace of about 12 experiments an hour. All right, let's go a little deeper. Let's look inside the agent's brain and see its work cycle. This is the real engine of Autoresearch, just humming along, running 24/7 without any human needing to step in.
The agent just follows this simple, elegant loop. First, it modifies train.py. Then, it commits that change to Git, which creates a nice, clean record. It runs the 5-minute experiment. After that, it scans the log file for the one metric that matters, val BPB. If that number got better, it keeps the change. If not, it just reverts the commit, and poof, the change is gone. Then, it starts the whole process over again.
But the agent can't just do whatever it wants. It has a very clearly defined sandbox. It has total freedom to change anything inside train.py, the model, the optimizer, any of the hyperparameters. But it is absolutely forbidden from touching the data loading in prepare.py or installing new software. This is key because it prevents the agent from, cheating and ensures every experiment is on a level playing field.
Okay, this is honestly one of my favorite parts of the whole design. The agent is guided by something called a simplicity criterion. It's basically been told that a tiny little improvement isn't worth it if it means adding a bunch of messy, complicated code. In fact, if the agent can delete code and simplify things, even if performance stays the same or just a tiny bit worse, that's considered a simplification win. It prefers clean, elegant code.
So if the AI is doing all the heavy lifting, what's left for you? Well, your role changes. You stop being the hands-on experimenter and you become more of a strategist, an analyst. You guide the research from a higher level and make sense of what the AI is discovering.
The system is really clever about how it keeps records. It actually maintains 2 separate logs.
The Git history? That's the clean, perfect record of only the winning experiments, what Karpathy calls the optimization frontier. But there's another file, results.tsv, and that's the complete, messy lab notebook. It logs everything, every success, every failure, every time the code just crashed. It's the full, unfiltered story. And this is where you come in. Your job is to be a detective. You dig through that complete results.tsv log. You look for patterns, you see what kinds of ideas are failing over and over, and you figure out what's working. Then you take those insights and you use them to update the agent's high-level instructions back in program.md. You're basically coaching the AI to be a better researcher over time.
All right, now for the big one. This whole thing was designed on a massive H100 GPU. Can you actually run it on your machine at home? The answer is yes, absolutely. And the project gives you clear steps on how to adapt it, not just for different hardware, but maybe even for totally different kinds of research problems.
This table is basically your cheat sheet for running on smaller GPUs. You've got 4 main knobs to turn. The biggest one for saving video memory is lowering the max seq-len. Then, in train.py, you can make the model less complex by reducing the depth, you can shrink the total batch size, and you can simplify the window pattern. Tweaking these lets you scale the whole experiment down to fit whatever hardware you've got.
And the best part is you don't even have to start from scratch. The community has already been all over this. There are already popular versions or forks of Autoresearch, specifically for macOS, for consumer GPUs on Windows, and even for AMD hardware. It just goes to show how adaptable this core idea really is.
So, to wrap things up, what does this all really mean? Well, Autoresearch isn't just a cool script. It's really a proof of concept for a whole new way of doing science. A future where our human creativity is massively amplified by autonomous AI just doing the grunt work.
The main takeaway here is that even though this specific project is set up to optimize a language model, the paradigm itself is so much bigger. It really leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. If you had a tireless AI researcher that could run hundreds of experiments for you while you slept, what problem would you tell it to solve?